What does the dumper experience? In my email advice, there is often a curiosity about what an ex is thinking or experiencing during a breakup and when you go no contact. So I thought I should make a video that follows the ins and outs of this, from before the breakup to throughout no contact to when they decide that they are going to reach out. Personally, I have been on both sides of this. I've been broken up with, and I have been the breaker-upper. Neither one is fun. Remember that a breakup is painful for everyone involved. Whether you choose to end it or the decision is forced upon you, you are breaking a powerful bond, grieving the death of a specific future you envisioned, and doubting yourself, your worth, and your own capacity for love. And that's where we start. Doubt. While in your relationship, your ex began to experience the relationship killer known as doubt. The reasons vary. It could be external stresses, no time together, a complacent sex life, repetition and mundanity, identifying internal incompatibilities, arguments, or just a sudden feeling, as if from nowhere, that this doesn't suit them any longer. Now, no one experiences relationship doubt and then suddenly breaks up that day. It usually festers over a few weeks or even months in some long-term cases. And they spend this time trying their best to ignore that thought, that feeling, because it is not what they want. So they often try to mimic themselves in a relationship for a while. They'll smile, say I love you, go on dates, but it's not working. That doubtful gut instinct just lingers. Something is wrong. And then they start to pull away more, as clearly faking it isn't working. So time apart may help. But while they pull away, their partner seems to be coming closer, smothering them. So they pull away more and act cold, so they can isolate themselves and figure out what the hell is wrong with me. They think about the good times, the connection, the story they told themselves up until now about why you both belong together. But the feeling can't be shaken. And they begin to doubt themselves and their own capacity for love and what must be missing inside them and how this is maybe their fault. Throughout this, they start to feel mentally isolated. They've tried acting, they've tried pulling away, but there's just this feeling that this isn't working. Usually it falls under one of two big tentpole reasons: a loss of attraction or they don't see a future with you. Then they may consult a friend to talk about it, as they need to figure out what they feel. Their friend will encourage them to do what they think is right for them, like any friend would. But there is a lot of uncertainty. What if it's the wrong choice? Where did this feeling come from? Can't I get over this? One day, they will just decide that they are going to end it. Like I said, it could happen over a week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, or months, depending on individual factors. But then comes the dread. How will the other person react? They're going to be upset. They're going to be blindsided. I know. I better fade it out slowly. So they experience a gap, so this doesn't shock them too much, and they're a little more used to life without me. But when they pull away, you get anxious and crowd them. This makes them realize they really don't belong in this relationship right now. Here you are acting at 300% interest level to win them back out of anxiety, and they're dwindling down to 50% and 40%. So ironically, your desire to get them closer pushes them further away and forces them to act sooner. They either just blurt it out or they plan it out and do it fast. Now, they have been expecting a terrible breakup, and unfortunately, most people confirm their suspicion by begging, pleading, crying, writing letters, whatever it takes to win them back. The more this happens, the more sympathy they feel and the more cold they become. They even start to believe that they are a bit heartless because they are consumed with anxiety and don't feel in touch with that part of themselves. This is why if you remain calm in the breakup, play it cool, suggest there is a misunderstanding or a lot going on in both of your lives right now and don't chase, they're surprised. They don't get what they were anticipating and it causes a new kind of doubt. But that's for another video. Now the breakup is done. The dumper feels free. They achieved what they set out to do. They need to be independent and figure out who they are and what they want. The more their ex contacts them to convince them, the more it shows them that you are on two different wavelengths and that you do not understand them or respect their decision. This causes them to feel very powerful. And whenever they get a message from their ex, they feel compassion, a sort of poor you, I'll let you down easy, but you don't understand. I'm just not emotionally available at all right now. If the ex persists, they will now get cold, repeat the same arguments, but sound increasingly rude to encourage you to stop. because that breakup and dread and anxiety was a horrible experience for them too, and they do not want to repeat or revisit that trauma. Then no contact begins. Silence. Relief. It's over. Finally, some time to be alone with their thoughts. Now, with their newfound freedom, the first thing they'll do is go out, often drinking or partying with their friends, a natural response for anyone. It's a time to socialize, and they are realizing they are single now, so they must make their life exciting, just like they told themselves it should be, as well as justifying this breakup drama and pain to themselves and the world, as friends and family are judging them. They claimed they wanted to be single, now they are, and there is a pressure to prove they did it for good reason. So they will usually post photos online about how great they're doing. Look at me, I'm out, it's fun, I'm fun. I'm rediscovering a whole part of myself I forgot about. This is a little scary and new, but it's okay. If they drink, they find themselves thinking about you when they're hungover or toward the end of the night. They will consider messaging, but don't want to upset you or lead you on after all that trauma. But mostly, they force themselves into social mode, arranging stuff to do to keep themselves busy and to be around friends. They no longer like being alone with their thoughts. Now it's just lonely. And then they think about what happened, how they hurt you, and how they hurt themselves too. It was awful. But as time passes and life takes over, their friends are less and less available to hang out, and you're still not contacting them. They look at your social media from time to time, and you're either not posting anything, making you a total mystery, or you seem totally fine and active. They end up alone more. They wonder if you're alone. Then they may decide it's time to date, time to see what's out there, so they go on a date. But they don't really want a relationship, as they're still wondering why the hell they broke up with someone they cared about so much in the first place. Or they don't know what they want. They're justifying the breakup to themselves again by dating like any single person should. The new person they date isn't as familiar. They find themselves resorting to template language like, "What do you do? Any cool trips planned?" Or describing themselves in those job interview social media ways as if everything in their life is fantastic. But it feels empty and like hard work. Then they really start to wonder about you. They think about the relationship more and more, wondering what went wrong and why. It's weird you haven't been chasing, but then they remind themselves they left you and they have no right to wonder. They check on your social media again, and you're doing very well. You're thriving. Now that the dust has settled, all those reasons for breaking up and that anxious, doubtful feeling has run out of steam. It's just empty and cold now. They wonder, do you still care about me? Are you dating someone new? What have you realized about me that's caused you to not reach out anymore? Will others start to realize the same thing? They respect you now and quietly resent when others ask about you or how they are coping with the breakup, because they have no idea how you are and they assume you are handling the breakup better than them. Why aren't you contacting? Obviously because you don't need to. You can find someone else, so can they, but anyone they try to find will be interested in them, and you appear disinterested. So what gives? Then they decide, fuck it. I'm just going to ask how they are. What's the harm? We knew each other for a long time. We can be friends. I mean, not friends, as you specifically said no to that, but we can talk. We used to talk all the time. Maybe I'll just see if you're angry or okay. Maybe you'll want me back right away and be desperate. They have no idea. That's when they contact you. Maybe it's a how are you or an indirect comment to test the waters. And now they wait for your response, anxiously, beginning to wonder if you are even going to reply, because you could not, and that would be totally justified. And then you do, and relief washes over them. They lean in toward their phone with focus. It's the first contact since the breakup, so there's a lot of adrenaline and cortisol pumping through their veins, as this is bringing up similar levels of anxiety and importance to the last point of contact they had with you, the breakup. But this time, it's pleasant and relieving in a new way. It's easy to talk to you. They have had so much new and unfamiliar come their way that there is a comfort and ease with you that there just isn't with others. And now another familiar feeling, but in the exact opposite direction. Doubt. So that's what the dumper experiences from before the breakup through no contact until they reach out. And if you have a personal dating or breakup issue that you want my advice on, you can find my contact information on this video. But in the meantime, stay strong. You don't actually need your ex, and you have an open road of endless opportunity ahead of you. So don't worry, you're gonna be fine.